The morning sun struggled to peek through the dusty windows of Rosie's diner, a roadside stop where truckers, travelers, and the broken-hearted all gathered for coffee and silence. Behind the counter stood Lena Monroe, a 25-year-old waitress whose soft brown eyes always smiled, even when her lips couldn't. She was known for her kindness, her calm tone, and how she always remembered everyone's order by heart. But that morning, something was different. The light makeup she wore couldn't hide the faint purple mark along her cheekbone. A bruise. She'd told the cook, Jerry, that she had slipped in the kitchen. He didn't believe her. Nobody did. But in a small town like Millstone Creek, people had learned not to ask questions, especially about Lena's boyfriend, Rick Dalton, a man whose charm could curdle into cruelty in seconds. Lena poured coffee after coffee, smiling through pain no one dared to name. Her wrists bore the silent proof, faint bruises that told a story no one would listen to. That was when the door opened, and a low rumble of engines followed. The air changed. 4 bikers walked in, their black jackets stitched with a silver emblem that read the Iron Compass MC. At their front was Jackson Reed, a man whose reputation preceded him, ex-soldier, biker gang leader, and the kind of man who carried authority not through fear, but through quiet command. He had eyes that noticed things. The kind that didn't just look, they saw. "Morning, miss," he said, sitting at the counter. Lena gave her usual tired smile. "Coffee, please. Strong." As she poured, his gaze caught the edge of her sleeve, where another faint bruise peeked through. She noticed his stare and quickly pulled her arm back. "Hot plates. They bite sometimes," she said with a forced laugh. Jackson didn't respond. He just nodded, but his jaw tightened. When the bikers finished breakfast, he left a $100 bill on the counter. "For the food," he said, "and for your trouble." She tried to hand it back. "That's too much." He looked at her gently. No such thing as too much for good service. Then he walked out. That night, Lena returned home to her small apartment above the hardware store. Rick was there, drunk again. The shouting started before she even took off her coat. "Who gave you the money?" he slurred. "Customers. Just tips. Don't lie to me." A slap followed, sharp, loud, and final. She didn't cry anymore. She just looked away, as if her spirit had learned how to hide. But outside, parked across the street, sat a motorcycle. And on it, Jackson Reed. He had come back. He didn't know why, but something about the way she smiled earlier had haunted him all day. The kind of smile that hides storms. He saw the shadow in her window. Heard the shouting. His fists clenched on instinct. But he didn't move, not yet. He needed to be sure. The next morning, Lena returned to the diner, her cheeks slightly swollen. She kept her head low. Jackson was already there. Same seat. Same quiet. "Rough night?" he asked softly. "Just tired," she whispered. He leaned closer, his voice gentle but heavy with intent. "You don't have to lie." Her hands shook. "You don't know what you're talking about." He sighed. "I know what fear looks like. I've seen it in war, and I'm seeing it now." Her eyes filled. "Please, don't get involved. It'll just make things worse." He didn't argue. He just nodded slowly and said, "If you ever need help, you know where to find me." Then he placed a card on the counter, plain black, with a single silver compass printed in the center. No number. No name. That night, she hid it under her pillow.
The Rincamarde that night.
Thunder rolled like distant anger, and the streets of Millstone Creek were empty, except for a single motorcycle speeding through puddles. Inside Lena's apartment, everything was chaos. Rick had found the card. "What's this?" he shouted, waving it in her face. "You cheating on me with one of those biker freaks?"
No.
He just gave me his card after breakfast." Rick threw the lamp against the wall. "Liar."
Lena stumbled back, tears streaming.
Her heart pounded as she grabbed her coat, desperate to escape. He lunged at her, but she managed to slip out the door, running barefoot into the storm. She didn't even know where she was going. Then she saw it, the faint glow of a neon light.
Iron Compass Garage.
She hesitated, soaking wet, trembling. But then she remembered his words, "You know where to find me." She pushed open the door. Jackson looked up from his workbench, eyes widening.
Lena.
Before she could speak, she collapsed. He caught her, gently lowering her to the ground.
Hey, you're okay. You're safe now.
When she woke up, she was lying on a couch in the office, wrapped in a warm blanket. Jackson sat nearby, his arms crossed, his expression unreadable but soft. You don't have to go back, he said quietly. I have nowhere else, she whispered. He looked away, exhaling deeply. Then you stay here.
Allons à you need.
For the first time in years, Lena felt safe. Days turned into weeks. She helped clean the garage, made coffee for the crew, laughed, really laughed, for the first time since she could remember. The bruises began to fade. But what grew instead was something unexpected: hope. The Iron Compass bikers treated her like family. They never asked for her story. They just showed her, every day, that kindness didn't need a reason. One morning, the local sheriff arrived at the garage. Rick Dalton's been arrested, he said. Someone tipped us off about the abuse, the illegal stuff in his car, Lena froze. Someone? The sheriff smiled faintly. Anonymous call. But whoever it was, they did the right thing. When the sheriff left, she turned to Jackson. You. He shrugged. The world's got too many bad men, Lena. Figured I could take one off the list. Her eyes filled with tears. Why? You barely knew me. He looked at her for a long moment. Because someone once saved me when I didn't think I was worth saving. That night, the Iron Compass crew gathered around a campfire outside the garage. Lena sat beside them, listening to laughter and the crackle of burning wood. Jackson handed her a leather jacket, smaller, fitted, with her name stitched on the back under the silver compass emblem. What's this? She asked, smiling through tears. Family, he said simply. She looked down at the jacket, running her fingers over the stitches. For the first time, the bruises on her skin no longer defined her. The scars were there, yes, but so was strength. Weeks later, she got a small apartment nearby and started working at a local community center, helping other women escape abuse, teaching them how to rebuild their lives. People in town whispered about how the Iron Compass bikers had rescued her. But Jackson never talked about it. He didn't need to. His actions spoke louder than words ever could. And sometimes, late at night, Lena would hear the distant sound of motorcycles echoing through the valley, a reminder that kindness can roar louder than any storm. Red Heart Call to Action. If this story touched your heart, remember. Backhand index pointing right. Sometimes heroes don't wear capes. They wear leather jackets and carry kindness in silence. Crescent Moon. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more true style stories that prove compassion still exists, even in the darkest corners of life.